WWE's Anything Can Happen late 90s approach to programming has been called Crash TV. As these incidents prove, the Crash TV sensibility sometimes breaks free of sports entertainment and into mainstream media when wrestlers appear on talk shows. In January 2024, Australian WWE star Grayson Waller returned to his home country for a promotional tour ahead of February's Elimination Chamber Premium Live event in Perth. He made appearances with a number of mainstream outlets and met with some of the star players from the Penrith Panthers Rugby League Club. Unfortunately, one of his appearances alongside fellow WWE star LA Knight didn't go according to plan, leading to some tense TV. Toward the end of an interview with Channel 7's Sunrise program, co-host Natalie Barr asked Knight to perform one of his finishing moves on a member of the crew. Knight, a babyface, asked Waller, a heel, to do it instead. Waller initially looked confused until the network's floor manager confirmed he'd take the move. That's when Waller reacted in frustration.
I don't think you understand, if I come over there right now, we're going to have the police here because I'm not going to give you some fake punch. I'm going to punch you straight in the jaw.
Waller added that he felt the show was trying to disrespect him and Knight, saying,
"You want to talk to me like this ain't real?"
The situation was de-escalated rather quickly by the hosts. While chaotic, the incident actually gained Waller some credit with wrestling fans on social media, who appreciated that he stood up for his art form. Perhaps Waller remembered an incident in which a wrestler did demonstrate a move on a host and got in legal trouble for it. Hulk Hogan and Mr. T appeared on a 1985 episode of Hot Properties with actor and comedian Richard Belzer to promote their upcoming tag team main event at the first WrestleMania. Everything was going smooth until Belzer asked Hogan to place him in a wrestling hold. Hogan obliged, and Belzer passed out in the front chin lock he applied. When Hogan released the submission, the host fell and hit his head on the floor. Belzer would require 7 stitches in the back of his head. Hogan apologized on air and urged untrained fans not to attempt wrestling moves, but it wasn't enough. Belzer sued Hogan for $5 million in damages for personal injury. Before the case went to court, the parties involved reached a settlement for an undisclosed amount of money.
And now I have a lovely home in France called the Hulk Hogan Arms.
Roddy Piper was no stranger to upsetting the apple cart and speaking his mind, in the wrestling ring and just about everywhere else. When TV host and comedian Bill Maher opted to take shots at the industry during a 1999 episode of Politically Incorrect with Piper and other WCW performers on the panel, things got a little heated. Maher would first claim that audiences are in on the joke of pro wrestling, which Piper took as an insult. Maher continued his degradation by saying,
"There's never a bruise on any of you."
That drew an instant reaction from Sting, Medusa, and Piper in particular.
Metal hip, broken wrist.
Piper then told Maher to go speak to the family of the deceased Owen Hart regarding the fake nature of wrestling. Piper would get one more dig in at Maher, who quipped that he doesn't drop his pants in front of other men. The notoriously quick-witted Hall of Famer hit back,
"Well, how'd you get the job?"
If there was ever a pro wrestler that was going to stand up for the business in a mainstream setting, it was Piper. And Maher found out the hard way not to attempt to trade barbs with the late, great Hot Rod. It's no secret that Randy Orton had some issues with his temper early in his career. The second-generation star was thrust into the business at a very young age, becoming the youngest world champion in WWE history. He has admitted he struggled to deal with the fame in his early 20s, enduring multiple suspensions and also spending 4 weeks in an anger management program. While he definitely matured over the years, there was one incident on live television in which Orton's short temper was on full display. During an interview in Mexico during his 2009 title reign, Orton was quizzed on some of his previous injuries. When the host used the word fragile to describe him, things got ugly in a hurry. Orton took the glasses off the interviewer's face and tossed them away before threatening to get physical.
"Call me fragile. I will headbutt your teeth through your skull. Do you hear me?"
To this day, fans are still divided over the legitimacy of the altercation. Vader appeared alongside The Undertaker on Good Morning Kuwait to promote a 1997 WWE tour of the region, and things immediately got off to a rough start as the host asked the duo about the idea of wrestling being fake. The Undertaker was clearly annoyed by the line of questioning, but the then world champion gave a relatively polite response. Vader wasn't as forgiving, calling the question, quote, "insulting to what I do." After a few more words, Vader stood up, knocked over the coffee table in front of him, and grabbed the host by his tie. After asking the host, "Does that feel fake?" Vader added,
"Why don't you come down tonight, and before I kick his ass, I'll kick your ass."
Police were called to the studio, and Vader was placed under arrest. He was detained for 10 days, but he spent the time in a luxury hotel rather than a jail. WWE would later acknowledge the confrontation and Vader's arrest on screen, using it to showcase Vader's toughness. Jim Ross interviewed Vader and asked if he had any remorse or shame about what occurred. In response, he told Ross and the crowd that he went over there and did his job, which was to beat up people. During a 2022 interview, looking back on the incident, The Undertaker said he saw Vader's attack coming well before it happened, but hoped it wouldn't.
There is a time where you have to be a little more diplomatic.
Vince McMahon was a controversial figure long before his most recent scandals, and when confronted with tough questions, he could become very aggressive. Perhaps his most infamously contentious interview was on a 2001 episode of HBO's On the Record, where he was set to discuss the demise of the XFL Football League with veteran broadcaster Bob Costas. Costas took aim at both the XFL and WWE, leading to a heated confrontation. McMahon began to lean into Costas' personal space, making for uncomfortable viewing.
Take a look at the tape when you play it back. How many times did Bob Costas interrupt Vince McMahon before he let him answer the question?
It apparently could have been far worse, according to the 2021 book Tinderbox, HBO's Ruthless Pursuit of New Frontiers. McMahon told author James Andrew Miller, "He kept interrupting me and bringing up topics that had nothing to do with what we were supposed to be talking about. He kept trying to do the I gotcha kind of thing. It was clear he didn't want to hear any of my answers." McMahon added that he believed Costas as pompous and used the interview to show he was above the WWE chairman. McMahon said, "I was sitting there really pissed off and started thinking, I wish he wasn't 5 feet high and 140 pounds. If he was 6'5" and 295, he would deserve to get beat out of him." Costas explained his side during an episode of In Depth with Graham Bensinger in 2023, theorizing that McMahon didn't expect to be challenged. He also said his own expression probably played a part.
I wasn't so much smiling as smirking, and I think that set him off all the more.
CM Punk is notorious for his quick wit and ability to verbally eviscerate his opponents. That was no different during a 2014 interview with Michael Landsberg on TSN's Off the Record. The multi-time world champion had left the WWE earlier in the year, but he was still heavily tied to the wrestling industry, despite his attempts to move in a new direction with the UFC. Punk mostly gave short and sarcastic answers to the exuberant Landsberg, but things went off the rails completely towards the end as Punk revealed the reason for the tension.
Your demeanor off the camera is 100% different than when it is when you know you're being recorded and you're interviewing me.
Punk characterized Landsberg as innocent and defensive, and trying to act like his friend off camera, and added, "When you get on the camera, you want to act like hot. I appreciate that. I like your gimmick, kid. I love it." Landsberg then criticized Punk for drinking coffee throughout the interview, to which the star responded by saying,
I gotta stay awake on TSN. I need my caffeine.
Dr. D. David Schultz's backstage interview with John Stossel was such a disaster that it resulted in him losing his job and landing in legal trouble. Stossel spoke to Schultz as part of a 1984-2020 segment on pro wrestling, and the reporter used a dirty word to describe it: fake.
You think it's fake? What's that? Is that fake? Huh? What the hell's wrong with you? That's open hand slap, huh? You think it's fake?
Marvin Cohn, a deputy commissioner at the New York State Athletic Commission, was at the arena during the incident and immediately suspended Schultz for hitting Stossel. Schultz would soon write a letter to the commission and apologize, stating, "I admit the allegations. I intend the commission to know that I did not intend to hurt John Stossel. I apologize to the commission and to John Stossel." At the time, Schultz was portraying a heel. The wrestler has claimed that Vince McMahon urged him to stay in character during his interaction with Stossel, who filed a lawsuit against the WWF and settled out of court for $425,000. Schultz was quickly fired. Stone Cold Steve Austin launched his podcast, The Steve Austin Show, in 2013, and it was such a huge hit that WWE got in on it. After the launch of the WWE Network in 2014, some episodes of Austin's show became WWE Network specials streamed from a studio, with the likes of Vince McMahon and Triple H as guests on early episodes. In 2016, Austin hosted Dean Ambrose, now known as Jon Moxley, and what ensued was one of the most awkward encounters in wrestling television history. The one-time WWE champion gave blunt answers and was seemingly bothered by Austin's line of questioning, which included him bringing up the fact the former Shield member was resting on his laurels during his title run. Austin also had complaints about Ambrose's recent program with Brock Lesnar, which culminated with a disappointing match at WrestleMania 32. On an episode of his podcast in 2019, Austin admitted that the interview got off track, and how poorly it went still nagged at him.
For all this time, I felt like about that interview.
Austin said that, at that time, he still thought about his interview with Ambrose every day. That same year, 2019, Moxley appeared on the Flip the Strip radio show and said he had a half-hour phone conversation with Austin, adding, "We shot the bullcrap for a little while." So it seems that any bad blood over the disastrous 2016 interview is gone.